You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out and move mountains. We can walk it out and move mountains. And we'll rise up, I'll rise like a day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like a wave. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. With you, with you, with you, with you. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like a day. I'll rise up in spite of the aim. I will rise 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like a wave. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. With you, with you, with you, with you, and I'll rise up.
An epic saga, relayed in 3 acts. Act 1, creation. Act 2, demonstration. And Act 3, application, which simply brings us back to creation. So here we find ourselves in the final act, ready to relate and demonstrate, erect, not prostrate. Can you relate? No more crawling through the mud. Rise up. No more wallowing in all that you judge. Rise up. No more denying the Holy Spirit's love. Rise. 1,000 times we shall rise. 1,000 times we climb high, looking out over the horizon, basking in the glory of Orion. As clear as a reflecting pool, our hearts and minds renewed. The city of angels, channeling a 5th-dimensional framework, bringing through the white firelight, demonstrating a life from on high. Together we rise. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. I just want to give so much appreciation to each one of you who are present this evening, and each one of you who will be present watching the replay of this book reading. My aunt Leora, hi auntie, she asked me yesterday or day before, a couple days ago, she's like, when is the next book reading, or how is the book tour going and whatnot? And I remembered, oh, I haven't done a reading for February, and this would be my last weekend to do it, since next weekend I'll be in retreat with some of you who are on the call. And so thank you, Auntie, for that. I much appreciate that support, that gentle reminder, and that love, for what I bring through. I'm so honored to bring it through. So with that, I'm going to just lay out this quick book reading we're going to have. I am into this 35-minute session. I think it gives us a little bit of sustenance and leaves us ready for the next time that we gather together. So I think that 35-minute slot is just such a perfect timing frame. And so with that, I want to say that we're going to read a few selections, and then I'm going to take some questions and answers after I read one of the book reviews. I've been honored to receive five-star book reviews, and they're from independent reviewers who review books for readers' favorite. And so that I'm jazzed up about that. So I'll read one of those book reviews. But first, let me jump into a selection. And on deck right now, we have a selection that came in from my Auntie Leora. So I will read that one. Hers is Reach, Rise. And if anyone else out there, I think she may be the only person on the call who has the book as of yet. Everyone else's books are coming to them either next weekend or in March. So let me go ahead and start with that. And if you haven't seen the beautiful book yet, here's the beautiful hardbound book with its wonderful dust jacket here. Yes, Auntie showed hers. Yay. And so if you ordered the hardcover, you're going to get this. And what also comes with the hardcover is a bonus bookmark that you're going to get with that to help keep your place in where you left off. All right, so without further ado, this one can be found on page 156. It is in the Ascension Poetry section, and this piece is called Reach, Rise, Jacob's Ladder. This was written December 9th, 2009. If I just keep walking, I'll reach my destination. If I just keep talking, I'll remain in tribulation, 1 foot in front of the other, 1 step at a time. The pace quickens as I remain willing to climb. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. My destination nears. My brother reaches out his hand, and together we rise higher. Reach and rise. So that's that piece. That's that piece. And the next selection from someone who isn't on quite yet, but I'm going to go ahead and read Cry Freedom. This one is actually one of my longer pieces. Most of my pieces come in about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. This one is right about 3 minutes when read properly, I should say. So this one is called Cry Freedom. It's in the Rise Up project, and it can be found on page 23. And it was written in July 26, 2016. Oh, that's a little after my brother Elijah's birthday, who I saw on the Zoom. Hi, Elijah. And I want to just say hi to everybody. I see Karen. I see Catherine. Hi. All over the country. I see Lisa. If I'm missing anyone, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. And everyone on Instagram Live. Hi, everybody. And then those who will watch on YouTube. How are you? All right, here we go. This is Cry Freedom. I wrote this piece after a visit to South Africa, which a few of you on this call tonight were there with me in South Africa. The cry for freedom runs deep. Across the planet, my people sleep. Across the globe, my people weep. Hear the cries of Rama as they bleed in the streets. From Baton Rouge to Soweto, my people sleep. As the cry for power begins to take heed. Amandla. Amandla, South Africa. Whether it is 2,000 women a week contracting HIV, Or 1/3 of our children looking for love through the drug niobe. The mist of a false reality induces a deep sleep. It is time to turn the other cheek and take hold of the beauty from the harvest that your soul reaps. But don't just cry for me, South Africa, while in America you can't see. Amandala, America. Oh, my people from the land of the free, built on the backs of those who were stolen from across the sea, and those whose land was simply stolen. Oh, yes, indeed, the land of the free. But don't just cry for me, America. It is time for you to be set free and release the idea of captivity. But in France, they are flooding the streets. So Amandla, Paris, and Nice, as crowds gather, demanding to be set free. Oh, mon ami, Paris, as they are bowled over, as though they are part of the streets. But don't just cry for me, France, while in Sydney, my people can't even be seen. Amandla, Melbourne. Yes, there are those of less complexity, while to the bush, my other people retreat. Come on out of the shadows. It is time for you to meet your destiny. But don't just cry for me, Sydney, while in Japan the radiation leaks. Amandla, Fukushima, prepared for a war that will leave the entire earth sore. The genius of devastation reigns on my nations. Regain your composure and build his relations. But don't just cry for me, Japan, while in Brazil you carry a heavy hand. Amandla, Sao Paulo. Amongst the celebration and temptation lurks hypocrisy and relegation. Relegated to the barrows of old and shut down in the streets like does. From Manaus to Rio de Janeiro, it is time, my people, behold. But don't just cry for me, Brazil, while in Canada you play meek. Amandla, Montreal. In Victoria, in Calgary, the shows unfold as the isms bring schisms that simply reveal what was hidden. Come on out. Reality is what is given. But don't just cry for me, Canada, while in the Arctic, my tears seep. Amandla, from the south to the north, from ship to shore, as we swing this pivot and redefine the norm. But don't just cry for me while you bring me to my knees. My people, set me free. My people, begin to see all life springs forth from the same seed. The ego's appropriation of the highest self's nation must no longer be your vocation nor occupation. It is time for a new dedication, the unification of all my relations. Aho matakwiosen. The cry for freedom runs deep. Spread your wings and release me. No longer will I sleep. Amandla, away through. Peace. That's that peace. All right. The interesting thing about doing a book reading when in your own home without people here, it's different. You know, the energy that I am used to feeding off of, and I won't say feeding off of, vibing with, the energy that I'm used to interacting with, you know, it definitely is different. And so I am moving into a different space with the reading in this moment that I am present to. And so, yes, thank you. And just to tell you a little bit about that piece, while we were in South Africa, I remember reading a paper, and I don't remember if it was in the hotel or if it was on an airplane, but it stated those statistics that I spoke of in the piece, that 2,000 women per week were contracting HIV, and 1/3 of all the children in South Africa were addicted to this drug, niobe. And I mean, children, not even teenagers. And so that struck me, and that's when that poem began to come through. But then something hit me, and it just said, but there's something going on everywhere. Whether it's crowds going out into the streets, whether it is the Black and brown people who are being shot down in Brazil, let alone in the U.S., whether it is, everything that we've heard about. And this was a couple years ago. So it sounds as though I'm talking about right now. And this was a couple years ago. And so that piece was inspired by really beginning to look at the devastation that living from our egos wreaks havoc in our lives, and time for us to rise up and take back our power by associating and relating with our higher self. So that's what that piece is about. So thank you for listening to that. And for my last selection this evening, I'm going to read this piece inspired by my brother Elijah. This piece is called She Is My Melody. And if Elijah was in a place, he's not in a place, he let me know he wasn't in a place where he could participate. But if he was, I would have him read his that goes along and that which inspired She Is My Melody. So right now I'm going to read She Is My Melody. It can be found, and guess what? This one, I forgot to put a tab. Okay, for everyone who was there last time, you remember I said, ooh, I'm going to put tabs next time. And so I did. You see the handy dandy tabs? I have the tabs. But lo and behold, She Is My Melody did not get tabbed. And so I am looking it up right here. It's on page 83. It's in the Ascension Poetry Project in volume 4. And so page 83, She Is My Melody. Perfect. Ooh, look at that. This was written on August 2nd, 2007. She is my melody, the Holy Spirit that soothes me, the melody that moves me and allows me to maneuver freely. Mother Nature caresses me, blesses me, and when I am down, she comforts me. This melody of which I speak, that moves me so deep, the divine feminine aspect in all humanity. But so much more than that. Her beauty shines forth in everything you see and can't see. Her melody I hear when you come to me and speak. Her melody plays when you make love to me. She is my melody. She rescues me from the felonious schemes of mediocrity. She is my melody by which my heart beats and my lungs breathe. She is my melody. That's that piece. All right, I just pretend that I hear snaps right now and claps right now and all that jazz coming. All right, so I want to encourage those who are on the Zoom and on the Instagram Live. If you have any questions, begin to formulate those questions. And if you can type them into the chat, I'm going to come and read those questions in just a moment. I'm going to read one of the reviews that came in now, and then I will come over to look at any questions that anyone might have, or even if it's not a question, any feedback you would like to share, anything you would like to express, and then I'm going to open up the airwaves. All right. So the review that I'm going to share this time, let's see. Okay, I'll do the one that's on top. How perfect. This one is from Asher Syed, I believe. Asher Syed. If I said the name wrong, please excuse me. He is a reviewer for Reader's Favorite. And that is a service that they do a lot of different things for authors. And one of them is they have a community of reviewers that you can access and submit your book to for them to review. So, Atonement, Rise Up in Ascension Poetry by Nubia the Doorway is an anthology of the poet's original work. The formatting of the collection is as free-flowing as the work itself. as Nubia provides unrestricted space for all 68 of the poems, photography, and illustrations that are placed with intent in a front-to-back and back-to-front arrangement. The poems are equal parts powerful and introspective. But as I actually write that, I can see separating the two undermines Nubia's work. Introspect and power are not mutually exclusive. Neither is an individual poem. Neither is any individual poem within. The pieces range in tone and tenor from the power of re, in which the root of a compound word is expanded on to magnify disparity, pain, and healing, to She Is My Melody, which I read tonight, an ode to the life-giving, nurturing, inspiring, reinforcing, and all-encompassing power, femininity in all its profound glory. I initially picked up Atonement out of complete curiosity, a poet with the name Nubia the Doorway, and myself, a reader who spent months in Egypt tracing the path from Berlin to Aswan in order to pay my respects to the famed temple of Calabashi in Nubia, after seeing its doorway at the Pergamon. So, to rationalize Kismet as anything other than that is just ludicrous. Of course, none of this would matter if the work wasn't so raw and piercing, and my goodness, is it ever. Nubia encourages reading each poem out loud and can attest to the dynamism that is unleashed by following this instruction. My favorite poem is Progress Flows, in which they write, turning vows, releasing steam, the floodgates open and revolution pours forth from the steams. This is a fantastic compilation crafted by an artist of the highest caliber, and one would be robbing themselves of a truly emotive experience in passing Atonement up. And that was from Asher Syed. All right, let me just check in. Everyone, can you hear me okay? I should have done this earlier. The volume is good. Okay, perfect. Whew, that was a joy reading that piece out loud to you all and really taking it in. I think when I read it to myself, I took it in just a little bit. But in that reading, like, I really took in more and more of what he was saying. And I'm deeply humbled, deeply appreciative, and honored that he took my work in a space, in that sacred devotional space that I approach it in as well. And so I offer that to everyone who will have the book, that when you approach the book, the intent is for it to be sacred and devotional and not just light reading. All right, so now going over to the airwaves, I'm going to open it up. And if anyone on Zoom has a question, okay, I see one question. Let me see. Do you remember what city in South Africa you visited or experience you had that inspired you to write Cry to Freedom? Yes. We visited Cape Town and Johannesburg, and it was the newspaper that I was reading that really anchored and inspired the work, but also visiting this school that we went to after I read it, and the children were just so blessed and happy and beautiful. And then visiting one of the shanty towns, and there was, you know, the depth of the appearance of poverty. I didn't get to really meet anyone there. It was just seeing it. But that is really what inspired that poem. And then just thinking about the affairs all over the world and just the message, don't cry for me, stand up in power, you know, and do something differently, you know, own your contribution to this, you know, let go of the ego's appropriation of the higher self's nation and move forward, you know. And anyone who might be familiar with the movie Cry Freedom, that was about the life of Stephen Biko. That's where the title of that poem came from. Stephen Biko was an activist out of South Africa. And I remember watching that movie, Cry Freedom, when I was growing up. and it touched me deeply. And so while I was in South Africa, that title came back to me as well. And on one other thing, also the going to see Mandela's house and thinking about him. So there was just let me just say, all of South Africa was in on that as well as the world. All right, so let me open it up. Anyone on Zoom want to come off mute, share anything before we wrap up this iteration of the book reading? And I will see you all next month after this one. I'm going to do one from New York on March, I believe it's somewhere around the 15th, 16th, but stay tuned for that. All right, let me read this message here. And we're going to end the Instagram live now. Just so you're in Instagram world, I will see you later. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. So Zoom land, we're still here. At what age did you start writing poetry? You know, I really don't know. Like, I remember I wrote some poetry in middle school, but it was only for like a class assignment. But I remember in high school beginning to be impacted by love and relationships, and that moving me to write some, deeply emotive stuff. But my writing changed, as did the rest of my life, once I went on my spiritual journey. So that spiritual journey is really inspired a whole different world for me. So therefore, a whole different style of writing. And stay tuned for the complete works of Nubia. And the complete works of Nubia is going to be called Mana. And I'm not sure when it's going to come out. It's complete. It's just going to be formatted. And so I'm going to listen to inspiration to hear when that should be released as well. But it has over 200 poems in it. I have over 200 poems. And I've recently cataloged all of the poems, put them in alphabetical order, and also assigned the dates that they were written. So that complete works Nubia is going to be fantastic. Thank you for sharing your gift. Enjoyed every poem. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you once again for showing up, supporting me. Thank you, each of you, for just your energy, because without a place to pour into, without a place receiving the word, it's hollow. So I am so appreciative for each and every one of you for being here this evening. And I will see you all very, very soon. I love you.